Erev Tov, everyone. Dr. Liz, we missed you on Sunday, Dr. Liz.
Yeah, Rav, I saw a survivor, very, very important survivor. So yeah, that was very, very, very interesting. Yeah. So Rav,
We missed you,
but I will catch up the video.
The catch up the video is one thing, but we missed you.
It's very kind of you, Rav.
Okay, Dr. Liz, bechavod.
Yes, so Rav, some interesting things. Yesterday, unfortunately, while I was at work, we heard the news that somebody in Neve Yaakov, a 64-year-old man waiting for the bus, saw a young kid approach him, and out of his hand came a knife. And this young kid actually tried to stab him in his back. And they found out that this young kid, who then ran away, was 14 years old. 14-year-old Arab little boy, tried to just kill innocent Jewish Israeli. And one thinks, there's no world outrage, there's no world media on it. It's just reported in Israel because it was a Jewish life. If it would have been the other way around, wow, it would have been a Security Council meeting. There would have been breaking news on BBC all over the world. But here, because it's a Jewish life, it's not so important. And the latest news is that the terrified Jewish students in England having to flee their classes because there's mobs that are attacking them in all campuses all over the States. They've had to cancel any Israeli lecture or if there's a talk by anyone associated with Israel. The students are petrified and terrified. There's a Eurovision contest, which is the biggest music event in the world, and Israel's won it quite a few times. And they're looking at the lyrics of the song. So they said, no, it has to be revised. You can't have anything about the terror attack. But Ukraine, the year before, did have a song about the war, and that was allowed. But now the latest today is that two Belgium ministers are urging Israel to be boycotted. And we have from Sweden as well. Many people are now saying that Israel should be boycotted. And the problem is, if Israel is not allowed to appear in the Eurovision, that could be the catalyst for many other events that they'll boycott Israel as well. So, the news it's a bit difficult hearing the news, waking up and hearing all these news. There was going to be a hostage possibly release with the talks in Cairo. And Hamas, it's just unbelievable, who are on the verge of being destroyed. They just got their last stronghold in Rafah. They are demanding outrageous demands. Now, Israel agreed to many, many conditions, and Hamas have now walked out of these talks. And the world condemns Israel for these talks failing. They don't condemn Hamas. It's just unbelievable. And if you listen to BBC, it's just very interesting to hear the news broadcasts. You hear about Israelis killing all the Palestinian children and the starvation. Not one mention about hostages. Not one mention who started the war. Not one mention about when the aid comes in to Gaza, that Hamas is stealing the majority of the aid, or they preventing the Palestinians from getting the aid because they're keeping it for themselves. And it was just been, I don't know if you see it in South Africa, but when they'd had that aid truck where 100 were killed, the majority, they were trampled on, or by, they say, even the buses running over. So the BBC and BBC's worldwide, they relied on the Iranian media to say that Israeli soldiers fired. And when you listen to the French media and Sky and all the different media, they say, no, the Hamas Palestinian Health Ministry said there were many people came in with gun wounds from the Israeli army. So it's a very difficult situation. And to compound this difficult situation, unfortunately, the saddest thing is that the hostages, the families are saying, why don't our own government, why don't they meet with us? It's been very sad to see, because everybody supports the hostages. Well, the majority, 99.9%. and the government haven't really engaged with the families of the hostages. So we all want this to be resolved, and the month of Ramadan is coming up. We're getting Rosh Chodesh, Adar. Ramadan's a very difficult month because there's a lot of incitement for violence, and Hamas has urged a march on Jerusalem and to cause more violence. So we know that, as you said, Rav, that Adar is a time of happiness and miracles. So Be'ezrat Hashem, this will be a month of miracles where Hashem will help Am Yisrael, because we really need the help, any help, and any support. And lastly, Rav, I'll just tell you, and this is actually quite interesting, it came out today, America has sent 100 supplies secretively, not through Congress, of armaments since October the 7th to Israel. And that is actually quite unbelievable. But we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But they have been quite unbelievable in having supplied Israel with incredibly important armaments that have enabled us to defend ourselves. So that's also a type of miracle. And we just hope that there'll be more miracles and Hashem will save us.
Be'ezrat Hashem, Be'ezrat Hashem. It's a very difficult news, but as I mentioned, Chazal asked in the Gemara, what's going to happen? יעמיד להם מלך קשה כהמן הרשע. Chazal said in the Gemara, Kadosh Baruch Hu, before the Mashiach come, will put a tough king like Haman. And we see that everyone is against us. No one believed when Haman put the decree that everyone going to survive. But everyone survived. And the end, Haman and his 10 kids been hanged. And the Jewish people, הייתה אורה שמחה ששון ועיקר. וליהודים הייתה אורה ששון ועיקר. So we have to have the faith, we have to have the belief that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the master of the universe. And the same like he brought this thing on us, he can take it for us. We just have to daven. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to dedicate that shiur, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will say enough letzarotenu. Also we'll dedicate the shiur in honor of Esther Kaden bat Ketia, Mordechai ben Rahma, Tamar bat Zehava, Itan ben Keren ve'Avishai, Nae Malka, Regina bat Joya, Yaakov Salomon ben Farha ve'Farha bat Salha, Nishmatam tiyeh tzurat tzur haim. Also in health of all the people in the world, the Jewish people in the world, in Eretz Israel, in health of all the soldiers, okay? In Eretz Israel, the member of the security, okay? All of those that need help, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send them refuah shlema speedily in nowadays, okay? Refuah shlema to all of them, the member of the security, the soldiers, every Jewish people all over the world that need help. And amongst them, we would dedicate the shiur to in the health of Liora bat Miriam, Nashenaji ben Farha, Harav Moshe ben Bayabatia, Harav Moshe ben Devora, Harav Shlomo Yehuda ben Dalia, Harav Avraham ben Marima, Devora bat Esther, Sheina Keila bat Hana, Mordechai David ben Leah, Yuda Hillel ben Shulomit Leah, Haim Nahum ben Pesach Reza Cohen, Baruch ben Sarah Hiena, אהובה קדם בת טלי אסתר, לאה בת רחל, פסח יצחק בן לאה, איילה עדן בת רבקה, נטלי מלכה בת שרה רבקה טל, יהודה בן אליעזר ומאיר בן יהודה. Please God רפואה שלמה to them ולכל חולה ופצועי עמו בית ישראל. רבותיי, this Shabbos we're going to read 2 parshiyot. פרשת ויקהל, that it's the parshat of the Shavua. But then we're going to read also Parashat Shkalim. Parashat Shkalim, there's 4 parashiyot. We spoke about it last year and in the previous year. Parashat Shkalim, we're going to read this coming Shabbos. And we always read Parashat Shkalim before Rosh Chodesh Adar. When there is a leap year, we read it before Rosh Chodesh Adar Bet. So this Shabbos, okay, the last Aliyah gonna be Shvi'i, Shiva Olim, and then they're gonna read the Aliyah, okay, of the Shkalim that can be found in Parashat Ki Tisa. And the source to it comes from the Gemara in Masechet Megillah Kaftet Amud Aleph, and the Mishnah in Masechet Megillah in chapter 3, Mishnah 4. That there they say that we should read the Parashat Shkalim. What is Shkalim speak about? It's Mahatzit Shekel that we read last week in Parashat Ki Tisa. In Parashat Ki Tisa, okay, we're going to read Be'ezrat Hashem, that we're going to read on Shabbos. It's going to be about the Mahatzit Shekel that the children of Israel brought. What is Mahatzit Shekel was? Mahatzit Shekel was money that the children of Israel given Truma to the Mishkan, to Bet HaMikdash, and with that, they used to buy all the offering that they used to offer, that they offered in the month of Nisan. That means all the offering that there is in the month of Nisan, with the money that they collected, that was the money gone to. Hazal said that today that we don't have Bet HaMikdash, you still obligated to give Mahatzit Shekel, okay? Today, you have to give Mahatzit Shekel. This money go to Talmidei Chachamim. Everyone agree, poor Talmidei Chachamim. The difference is there's different opinion, what is Mahatzit Shekel? According to the Sfaradim, it's 9 grams of silver. The value of 9 grams of silver, that's what you have to give Mahatzit Shekel. According to the Rama, and the Rama actually bring the Mordechai, okay? The Mordechai, the Rama bringing there, and it's also mentioned in Kaf HaChaim, okay, that it's a custom to give 3 coin. 3 coin of the value of the money of the country. That means rain. What is the value of the rain here? 5 rain. You give 3 5 rain coin. That's how what people say. That's the minhag that they do, and that's what brought by the Mordechai. Okay, that's the custom. The Sfaradim say it's equivalent to 9 grams of silver. That's basically what is Parashat Shkalim. Why we're doing it, although that today that Bet HaMikdash not exists, is to remind us still that what they used to do in a time that Bet HaMikdash was exists. That's Parashat Shkalim that we're going to read on Shabbos. So remember, we have 2 parashiyot that we read this week. We read Parashat Vayakel, that's Parashat HaShavua, that's the first one. Shiva Olim, that means 7 people that going to go up to the Sefer Torah. And after that, the second Sefer Torah we're going to read in Parashat Ki Tisa that we read last week, where it speaks about Mahatzit Shekel. Okay, let's start the shiur. Jeffrey, don't forget to unmute yourself. And we're going to start. Vayakel Moshe et kol adat bnei Israel. Vayomer alehem. Ele הדברים אשר ציווה אדוני לעשות אותם.
Moshe assembled the entire assembly of the children of Israel and said to them, these are the things that Hashem commanded, to do them.
Okay. Rashi HaKadosh said, let me read you Rashi, what Rashi said. למחרת יום הכיפורים, כשירד מן ההר. Rashi said, you know when Moshe Rabbeinu gathered the children of Israel? It was למחרת יום הכיפורים, the following day of Yom Kippur. Rashi HaKadosh, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki, born in the city of Troa 984 years ago. In his commentary on the Torah, he said that it was the following day of Yom Kippur. When does it happen exactly? It happened in the year 2000 449 from the creation on the 11th of Tishrei. Yud of Tishrei, we know it's Yom Kippurim. When Rashi says it happened the following day, that means Hazal tell us something extraordinary. What does it mean? It was an 11, the following day. That's Rashi. How do we know that Moshe Rabbeinu gathered them in the following year? Because Bnei Israel left Egypt in Nisan, in the month of Nisan, in the year 2448 from the creation. The following year, 2449 from the creation, on 11 of Tishrei, Moshe Rabbeinu gathered all the Jewish people. Okay, now we understand that. Rashi, we explain that people think that he speak about the Pshat, but Rashi speak in code. We have to understand what Rashi tried to tell us. We have to understand, why did Moshe Rabbeinu decide to gather the assembly, the entire Jewish assembly, dafka after Yom Kippur? What's the Hadush here? So first of all, we have to explain what's happened. After the children of Israel was involved with the golden calf, when I say involved, that they benefit from it, that they enjoy the dancing, they enjoy the celebration of the golden calf, of mating of the golden calf, HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided that he's going to annihilate, Chas v'shalom. I don't want to mention who. Moshe Rabbeinu gone up to the heaven for 40 days. And we know that he davened and he pledged until HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, Salahti kidvarecha. Because you daven, you pledge for 40 years. In your merit, I'm going to forgive that nation. I'm not going to annihilate them. Moshe Rabbeinu gone down from the mountain on Yom Kippur. Came down from heaven on Yom Kippur. Okay. The following day, Moshe Rabbeinu gathered the entire assembly and given them the first mitzvah after that, what that we're going to speak, it's Shabbat. But come the Mefarshim and ask, why does he have to gather them? What is Rashi trying to teach us? So there is different opinion. The one idea that the Mefarshim explain, you know why it was dafka after Yom Kippur? Said the Mefarshim like this. The Mefarshim explain that on Yom Kippur, usually people do atonement with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ben Adam Lamakom. But not only that, on Yom Kippur, there is also a mitzvah to do Ben Adam Lahavero. What it means, Ben Adam Lahavero? There is a mitzvah that we should ask our fellow friends, that we know that we're asking them for forgiveness, we're doing peace between us and a fellow friend, to live in peace and harmony and unity, in love one with each other. Moshe Rabbeinu said, wait a minute. This is the time that the children of Israel living together in unity one with each other. They all made peace. They all asked sorry one each other. This is the time. Said the Mefarshim, you know what was behind the idea of Moshe Rabbeinu? Chazal in the Gemara in Masechet Yoma, in page 9, folio 2, Chazal tell us something extraordinary. Chazal tell us that, you know what was the cause for the destruction of the first temple? Chazal explained in the Gemara Masechet Yoma 9:2, folio 2. Chazal say it was like this. Chazal say the reason for it was Avodah Zarah, the worship idol, Shpichut Damim, and immorality. That was the reason for the destruction of the first temple. Chazal continue and say in a Gemara there, you know what was the reason for the destruction of the second temple? Chazal say, Sinat Hinam, baseless hatred. Come the Mefarshim and explain like this. You know why Moshe Rabbeinu gathered the Jewish people dafka after Yom Kippurim, because the Jewish people was in unity together in Yom Kippur. They was in love together, sitting, davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So they're all in unity and peace. There is baseless love, unconditional love. He said, in the merit of that, Moshe Rabbeinu gathered the Jewish people immediately after Yom Kippur, because they didn't have a chance to do business. They didn't have a chance to meet with each other to have paribol. He wanted to gather them right now, while they're all clean like angels, while there is no sin. And he gathered them to do atonement for what? For what caused the Het HaEgel, that they done the Het HaEgel. But there's another explanation to it. And I saw the explanation, a matter of fact, I read it in a book by Rav Mutzafi, I heard it, okay? And I read it also in Imre Noam. Rav Mutzafi, Rav Ben Zion Mutzafi, and I read it Shalita, and I read it with a book that called Imre Noam of Rav Yoram Abarzel, Zecher Tzadik Kadosh Livracha. And they both say, what does it say that how is the Aaron HaKohen fell into the trap to throw the gold into the fire? He said, Vayikahel ha'am al Aaron. The Jewish people don't mention. It's a ha'am. Ha'am, the Zohar HaKadosh says, whenever the word ha'am mentioned, it's referring to the Erev Rav. Erev Rav is the multination. I heard a new name on Shabbos by our friend Yaakov. We call him Rifref. Rifref. What does Rifref mean? Exactly, I don't know, but I asked him, he said, it's mean the Erev Rav. Okay, so if you don't understand the multination, it's called Rifref. Okay. And Hazal tell us that the nation, who's the nation? It's the multination, came and put Aaron underneath a lot of stress. And then we know what's happening. Say Moshe Rabbeinu, you know, we have to do measure for measure. Rectification for the sin of what? Of the sin of Het HaEgel, that they all gather together. Now Moshe Rabbeinu going to gather the Jewish people together, and they're going to do atonement. How they're going to do atonement? Not only by that they together with love and peace and unity, that they all the Jewish people, by that they together and they're going to listen to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu telling them regarding keeping Shabbat, okay, regarding the next mitzvot of doing the Mishkan and etc. That's going to do rectification l'shem shamayim. While they get it together, not l'shem shamayim. Now they're going to get together l'shem shamayim. That's going to be the rectification. And now we can understand how what Rashi said to us. Rashi said to us they get it straight after Yom Kippur, on the 11th of Tishrei. What is Rashi trying to tell us? This is only two of the interpretation from many that the Mefarshim bring on Rashi. Bezrat Hashem on Shabbos, we bring new Hidushim on it. And now I would like to move on to verse 2. Look what it says in verse 2, and let's try to understand what's hiding. The Torah tells us, Sheshet Yamim Te'aseh Melacha, Ubayom HaShevi'i Yeh Lachem Kodesh Shabbat Shabbaton LaAdonai, Kol HaOseh Bo Melacha Yumat. B'chavod.
On 6 days, work may be done, but on the 7th day shall be holy for you, a day of complete rest for Hashem. Whoever does work on it shall be put to death.
Okay, straight after Moshe Rabbeinu gathered the children of Israel, what the first mitzvah that he's telling them after he gathered them? Okay, in the 11th of Tishrei, he's speaking about mitzvah Shabbat. That's mean, Chazal in the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, in page 118, folio 2. Chazal tell us something very interesting. And look why Moshe Rabbeinu told Bnei Israel when he gathered them, the first mitzvah is what? Shabbat, to keep the Shabbos. Say Chazal in the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, 118:2. Chazal say, Kol המשמר שבת כהלכתו, אוקיי? ואפילו עובד עבודה זרה כדור אנוש, מוחלים לו. I will translate. Our sage is saying in the Gemara like this. First of all, Dor Enosh. Who was Dor Enosh? The generation of Enosh. Enosh was the grandson of Adam HaRishon. Okay? And the generation of Enosh, they was the first generation to start sinning and idol worshiping. Okay? That's just history. What is Chazal tell us in the Gemara? Chazal tell us like this. Kol HaShomer Shabbat K'ilchato, a person that keeps Shabbos according to all the mitzvot, adore that Has v'Shalom, if he worship idols, mohalim lo. That means, Kadosh Baruch Hu forgive him. Say Moshe Rabbeinu, what was all the problem here? Idol worshiping. What was it? The golden calf, idol worshiping. He said the first thing that I need to speak to them, what? To keep the Shabbos. If the children of Israel will keep the Shabbos properly, that's going to be atonement for the golden calf, as Chazal say in the Gemara. That's, say the Mefarshim, why Moshe Rabbeinu gathered the children of Israel on 11, and the first mitzvah that he spoke, what was the first mitzvah that he spoke to them about? Shabbat, Shmirat HaShabbat. Okay? Observing the Shabbos. Now, Jeffrey read for us so beautifully, and it said like this, Sheshet Yamin Te'aseh Melacha. What does it mean, Te'aseh Melacha? If you want to work, you can work. If not, you don't have to work. What is the Hidush here? Ask the Mefarshim. The Mefarshim ask, what does it mean if I want to work or I don't want to work? Work may be done. I saw a beautiful Hidush that I want to share with you. Chazal explained that we go to work, we work, we earn the money. Many of us came to a conclusion, if I'm not going to go to work, I'm not going to earn money. Said the Mefarshim, here's the source, that it doesn't make a difference if you go to work or not. There's many people that work day and night, from the morning to the night, but they don't earn nothing. Said the Mefarshim, from that it said, Te'aseh melacha, Sheshet Yamim Te'aseh, that means HaKadosh Baruch Hu telling you, it's not you that making the money. It's not you that bringing the business. It said that, Chazal say, Nachon that you obligate to do ishtadlut atzmit, personal effort, to go to work. It's you obligate to go and work, if you have a business, to go and open the business, if you're a salesman, to go and sell. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he is the one that's sending you the customer. He is the one that tell the customer to give you the order or not to give the order. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to do it b'meimad, what it's called meimad hashvi'i. That means the 7 elevation, the 7 way that we look at it. That means naturally. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't reveal himself b'meimad hashmini, on the 8th elevation. What it means, the 8th elevation? Above nature. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell you, listen, go to work. Okay? By that you're going to work, you can bring money. But what's the Hidush here? The Torah tell us, Te'aseh. You think if you go to work or you don't go to work, you're going to bring the money? It all depends on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if he send you the customer. Or if you call on a customer, if he going to give you the order or not. We all have to try, personal effort. But we have to believe that if we get the business and we succeeded and we're doing well, HaKadosh Baruch Hu send that business to me. And if you didn't receive the business, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want to give it to you. Why? For his own personal reason. We don't know his reason, but Hazal tell us, Kol de'avid rahmana letav avid. Whatever the Almighty do, it's only for good. It's a very difficult concept, but we have to accept that. And if we accept that idea and we put it in our mind and we say to ourselves, whatever I have, whatever I do, it's all from Shamayim. If it's good or if it's bad, it's always good. There's no bad from Shamayim. Say Hazal, that's the best way to live, because then you're not worried. It's a very difficult concept to live by. I agree, but we have to try. And that's what we learn. And everyone according to his level. So it's come to teach us here, Sheshet Yamim Te'aseh Melacha, to understand that everything is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All our success, all the things that we're managing to achieve, it's all from Shamayim. Okay, so now we understand two things. We understand, number one, listen to that, that Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to the children of Israel Dafka straight after Yom Kippur and tell them the mitzvah of Shabbat, to observe the Shabbat, that if we observe the Shabbat, it will do atonement for the golden calf. Number two, it's to engrave on us that humility and humbleness, not to be arrogant with what we receive from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu to everything that we have. And that's Sheshet Yamim Te'aseh Melacha. That's only some of the idea. I would like to go to verse 3. If you see, this week I'm going verse after verse, and then I'll have to skip because I can't do all of them, because we're not going to do most of the Parashat Vayakhel. In verse 3, the Torah tells us, Lo teva'aru esh bechol moshbotechem beyom HaShabbat.
You shall not kindle fire in any of your dwellings on the Sabbath day.
Okay? In the pshat of the Dvarim, the Torah tells us you should not light the fire on Shabbos and any one of your dwelling. What's the Hidush? What's the Hidush? On Yom HaShabbat. Wait a minute, you told me before Sheshet Yamim Te'aseh Melacha Ubayom HaShevi'i Shabbat Shabbaton. Shabbat Kodesh, יהיה לכם Shabbat Kodesh, Shabbaton LaHashem. You told me already. So why are you repeating again? Lo teva'aru esh. You should not light fire in a day of Shabbos and anywhere in your dwelling. And the key word, Rabotai, is Beyom HaShabbat, on a Shabbos day. What is the Hidush here? So I saw a beautiful Hidush by the Marana Bet Yosef. Marana Bet Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo. Rabbi Yosef Karo, born in the city of Toledo in Spain, 535, 536 years ago, plus minus. And he had a book that's called Magid Yesharim. Besides the Shulchan Aruch that he wrote, he have a book that's called Magid Yesharim. Until plus minus 11, 12 years ago, I wasn't even aware of it, even 15 years ago. Yeah, I received it close to 15 years ago. And Magid Yesharim, it's a book that wrote by the Maran Shulchan Aruch. But what's so special about it? In Magid Yesharim, the Maran Shulchan Aruch writes all what's happened to him. That means he revealed that what Eliyahu Hanavi, what the angel told him. That's what he revealed in this book. And Maged Yesharim, he says something very, very extraordinary. Said the Rabbi Yosef Karo Lagbif. He said something very interesting. He said, if you look at the word B'Yom HaShabbat, on a Sabbath day, it sounds like these two words, not necessary to say in Yom HaShabbat, because we know that we're not allowed to light fire in Yom HaShabbat. So why did the Torah add up the two words B'Yom HaShabbat? Because we know, that in the Torah there is not one letters extra. And here there is two words, B'Yom HaShabbat. He said, I will explain. He said the reason that the Torah tell you B'Yom HaShabbat, because the Karaites, the Sadducees, the Tzdukim, they believe only on a written Torah. They don't believe in an oral Torah. They believe in a written Torah. That means they believe in Torah Shebichtav, the 5 books of Moses. But the oral Torah that Chachamim revealed to us, no, that they don't believe. Say the Maran HaBeit Yosef something extraordinary. Say Maran HaBeit Yosef something unbelievable. Listen what he said. Maran HaBeit Yosef say the main reason that the Torah tell you here that you should not light a fire on Shabbos, I tell you what's the Hidush. It's to implant in your heart, okay, that you have to believe in a written Torah. And that's actually to conquer, okay, what the Karaites try to say, that's Dukim, the Sadducees, all of those people that tell you that the what do you call it, the oral Torah, okay, is actually not right. You should believe only on a written Torah. What is the idea behind it? The idea behind it, that it's come to tell you that if we prepare before Shabbos the food and we put it on a warmer, okay, or we put the light on a time switch, we can use it. The Sadducite doesn't believe in it. On Friday night, until Motzei Shabbos, they sit in a darkness. They don't eat on Shabbos hot food. What do we have the custom is to eat cholent on Shabbat. Why dafka cholent? What's so special about the cholent? Because if you look, there's different kind of cholent. There is the Sephardi cholent. Amongst the Sephardim, there is different way of doing cholent. Okay, the Ashkenazi have a different cholent. Everyone have a cholent. Cholent with meat, cholent with chicken, cholent with veggies. What's so special about the cholent? That we cook it during Shabbos. On Shabbos, it's cooked. Why? To implant in us the belief in the oral Torah. The Sadducees eat only cold meat, only cold food. And I would like to tell a story. The story was in the time of the Geonim. The time of the Geonim was around 1,000 years ago, plus minus. And it was a story with Rav Amram Gaon. Rav Amram Gaon lived one floor above, okay, a Sadducee in the name of Anan ben David. Anan ben David was a Tzedukite. Okay, he didn't believe he's a Sadducee. He didn't believe in an oral Torah. He believed only on a written Torah. And Rav Amram Gaon, 1,000 years ago, you know, they didn't have electricity like we have. They have lamp. And the houses wasn't as sealed as us. They have a wooden floor. And in one of the floor was a hole, you know, inside the eye, inside the wood. And the Sedecites used to benefit from it from time to time. Because the light of Avraham Gaon, when he used to sit and study Torah, used to shine down. Okay. One day, Rabbi Avraham Gaon, put his feet on that hole that used to bring light to that tzduki, that Sedecite. Suddenly he hear knock from underneath, under his feet. And the Sedecite said to him, Ragle Hasidav Yishmor. The legs of his Hasidim, his spies, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will guard him. What does it mean? He tried to hint to Rav Amram Gaon, listen, you put your feet on that hole in your floor that brings shine down to my house. Amram Gaon immediately understand what he's trying to hint to him. He kept his legs on it and he said to him like this. He said to him, "V'rasha'im b'choshech yidamu." And the wicked people, in the darkness, they're going to die. That means that they're going to live in the darkness. It's come to tell us, Rabotai, why am I saying that story? That what it says, "V'lo tevaru esh bechol moshvotechem beyom haShabbat," said the Maran Bet Yosef, it's to implant in our heart that we have to believe in the oral Torah. We have to eat warm food on Shabbos. We don't have to suffer to sit in the darkness. And also by that the Sedecite is going to see that we living in that legacy and that emunah, it might going to change their mind. I would like to move on to verse 21. I'm skipping now, I'm starting to skip, if you see. And in verse 31, it says something very interesting. Look what it says. Here it starts already to speak about the donation for the Mishkan. And it says like this. ויבואו כל איש אשר נשאו ליבו, וכל אשר נדבה רוחו, אותו הביאו. את תרומת אדוני למלאכת אוהל מועד, ולכל עבודתו ולבגדי הקודש.
It was verse 31 or 21?
21, sorry, 21, my mistake, 21.
No
Did I say 31? Did I say 31? My mistake.
Sorry. 10 cubits was the height of the plank.
Wait,
And
Jeffrey, 35:21.
35 to it. Sorry, I'm reading 36. 35:21. Sorry. Second, I'll be a minute. Sorry, Rob. Right.
Sure.
Every man whose heart inspired him came, and everyone whose spirit motivated him brought the portion of Hashem for the work of the tent of meeting, for all its labor, and for the sacred vestments.
Okay. So a beautiful Hidush that brought by the Gaon Hida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, born in Jerusalem around 300 years ago, plus minus 299, 300 years ago, because we're just in the beginning of the year, so in the year of the Common Era. So it's a bit different between the Common Era and the Jewish calendar. That's why I'm saying plus minus. And said the Gaon Hida like this. He said from that verse that the Torah tells us, Vayavohu kol ish. What does it mean, Vayavohu? And every man came. Asher nesa'o libo. Kol ish asher nesa'o libo. V'chol asher nadva rocho. He said from that verse, you learn something extraordinary. you learn that whatever a person have in mind to bring to the Mishkan, he decide that he's gonna donate, let's say, 2 kilos of gold, 1 kilo of silver. I'm just throwing numbers. He'd say that everyone, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, help him to bring whatever he was thinking to bring to the Mishkan. The Hidush said the Gaon Hida here, and that's the beauty, that whatever each one have the desire to bring as a Truma, he did manage to bring it. That's the Hidush, said the Gaon Hida. Rabotai, I would like to do the Zera Shimshon, Rabbi Shimshon Haim Nachmani. We know that he born in Modena 318 years ago, 318. Modena is the north of Italy. And I'm going to skip to verse 27. And we'll see something extraordinary that many Mefarshim speak about it, but the Zera Shimshon picked it up also. And he said like this in verse 25. In verse 27, sorry. Verse 27. And it said like this, והנשיאים הביאו את אבני השוהם ואת אבני המילואים לאפוד ולחושן.
The leaders brought the Shosham stones and the stones for the settings for the ephod and the breastplate.
Okay. He said, what's the Hidush here? He said, so the prince, the head of every tribe, brought the precious stone. He said, what the Hidush here? He said, I'll tell you what was the Hidush. First of all, he bring the Midrash. Hazal and Sisri tell us like this. When Moshe Rabbeinu asked to bring the nation, the president of every tribe, that means the 12th president, tell like this, we'll wait for the Jewish people to donate, and whatever they short, we fill up the short. And in matter of fact, the children of Israel given everything. I mean that they given more than enough. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that it's going to cause a great embarrassment to who? To the head of the tribes, to the president. He decides that he's not going to embarrass them. So what has he done? On a manna that he brought next to the house, inside the manna, each head of the tribe found a precious stone. 12. There was 12 precious stones. Each one of them found a precious stone. And that's what they brought. That's the Sisri. Okay? Come the Zera Shimshon and say, wait a minute. Look at the word Vehanesiim. Nesiim, you write with Yud. Where's the Yud here? If you look in Hebrew, the word Nesiim and in the Torah, there is no letters Yud. Ask the Zera Shimshon and many of the commentaries why the word Nesiim been written without the letters Yud. That's the question. The Yud is Gematria 10. Okay? Said the Zera Shimshon, what is the connection that the Torah took? Kadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, when you write the word Nesiim, don't write the letters Yud. Come the Zera Shimshon and say, wait a minute, I don't understand. What is the connection of Yud, that it's Gematria 10, to the donation that they have to give? What is the connection between them? Said the Zera Shimshon a beautiful answer, Rabotai. And he actually based his answer according to Rabbeinu Ari HaKadosh. Rabbeinu Yitzhak Luria Ashkenazi, he born in Jerusalem 490 years ago, plus minus. And the Ari HaKadosh explained like this, B'Sha'ar HaLikutim. Sha'ar HaLikutim, it's a gate. Likud is to collect. That means he collect all different verses from the Torah And in the Kabbalah, he explained that. Let's call it Sha'ar. Sha'ar is a volume, let's call it, okay? In Hebrew, Sha'ar is a gate. But there is Shmona Sha'arim. Let's call it 8 volume. Sha'ar HaLikutim is a Sha'ar HaRevi'i. It's the 4 volume. And there he explains something extraordinary. And he brings the verse from the prophet Yeshaya. The prophet Yeshaya, in chapter 32, verse 17, I'm looking here at my notes. He said like this, Vehaya ma'aseh hatzedakah shalom. The action of giving tzedakah is peace, said the prophet. What does it mean? Said the Ari HaKadosh, that was a great Kabbalistic, he said like this, when a person gives a tzedakah, Rabotai, listen to it, focus. When a person gives a tzedakah, he have to have in mind, to have the kavanah, that he actually connecting the name of the Almighty, Shem Havaya. What it means, Shem Havaya? Yud, K, Vav, K. Shem Havaya. Yud, K, K referring to the letters Hey. Vav, K. He said when a person gives tzedakah, he has to say to himself that the money that he gives to tzedakah, that's the holy name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shem Havaya. How does it work? Listen how the Ari HaKadosh explained. He said the money that you give, the coin that you give, that the small letters Yud. The first letters Hey, the K, is the 5 finger that you hold the money. The Vav is the arm. The last 5 fingers that represent the K again, that's the hand of the receiver. So when you give a tzedakah to someone's hands, have in mind the money is the Yud, the Vav is the arm, the 5 fingers that I hold the money and I give it to the receiver, the person that receives, okay? When he takes it, it's another K. That means that I'm completing the name of the Almighty Yud K. And Yud K, at the moment, it's separated. Why? Because we see that the name of the Almighty, no one knows about it. It's not spread over the world. How do we fulfill it? By that we give tzedakah. By that we say, Amen, Yeh Shomer Rabba, spoke about it. It's not the time now. Said the Zera Shimshon, how do you connect the Holy Spirit with the Almighty? By that, when you give the money, and you have to hold the money in your right hand, the Ari HaKadosh explained, and you have to give it in the hand of the person that received, that means the poor person, to put it in his own hand on the right hand. That means give it to him like this. By that you're giving the money from your hand, that's tzedakah, to his person, you're actually connecting the divine presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Almighty. You're doing a connection between them. Say Rabbeinu Ari HaKadosh. But Has v'Shalom, when a person doesn't want to give tzedakah, he separates the Yud K and the Vav K. The Zera Shimshon, that's what's happened with the Nesi'im, the president. They was lazy, they've been delayed, they have all the reason. They say, we're going to give it up, whatever short, we will fill it up. That means that they took their time. They separate that holy name. And by the way, Rabotai, when it came to inauguration of the altar, who was the first one to give? The president. Why? But wait 1 minute. When it came to collect money to the Mishkan, you delayed because they realized the mistake that they make. Say the Zera Shimshon, Now you understand why the letters Yud missing from the word of Nesi, and it doesn't mention, because they was lazy to give the money quick. They took their time. And then, matter of fact, they never give, because the precious stone HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought from heaven. What is it? That by that they didn't brought Truma, they didn't brought Tzedakah, they separate the Yud-K from the Vav-K. And that's why we're still in exile today, because the holy name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu separated. So when we give Tzedakah, we actually, we connecting the divine present with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Shekhinah with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's why the letters Yud not mentioned. I would like to continue to verse 30. And look at verse 30, what the Torah tells us. ויאמר משה אל בני ישראל, ראו, קרא אדוני בשם בצלאל, בן אורי, בן חור, למטה יהודה.
Hashem said to the children of Israel, see, Hashem has proclaimed by name Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah.
Okay. Here the Torah tells us that Kadosh Baruch Hu said to the children of Israel, look, Kadosh Baruch Hu, call Bezalel ben Uri ben Hur. Come the Tzemach Tzedek. Who was the Tzemach Tzedek? Tzemach Tzedek, he was the third Rebbe in Hasidut Chabad, in a movement of Chabad. The third Chabad Rebbe. Okay, that his name is the Tzemach Tzedek. Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, that was his name. Not the last one, the third one. Okay. He wrote a book, Likutei Torah. They're all born in Belarus, by the way. Huh? I always mention them. They all wrote in Belarus. Listen what he said. And in his book, he said, I don't understand. Why is the Torah go through all? Who was Bezalel? Who was his father? Who was his grandfather? Who? And which tribe he is? He said that by that the Torah remind us his grandfather from the tribe of Judah. Say the Tzemach Tzedek to tell you that by that it's mentioning the name of his grandfather, that's done atonement to the sin that happened in the golden calf. What happened in the golden calf? Who, that was the son of Miriam, the grandfather of Bezalel, listen to that, when they decide to make the golden calf, who said to him, what are you doing? Are you mad? You're going to create idols. It's against what it's in the Torah. Immediately, the Rifref, the multination, killed them. It was a murder here, Shpichut Damim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, by that he mentioned the name of the grandfather here in this verse, Bezalel ben Uri ben Hur, Lemate Yehuda, said the Tzemach Tzedek, you know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu done atonement for that sin of Shpichut Damim. Come Rabbi Avraham Fatal. Rabbi Avraham Fatal was the father-in-law of Harav Ovadia Yosef, Tzaddik Kadosh Livracha. He born in Syria. He born around 134, 135 years ago, plus minus. And he said, by that HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose Bezalel, it's come to teach us something extraordinary. It's come to teach us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose Bezalel to do the Mishkan, to do the vessel, giving him that special wisdom, special chokhmah. Why? Because his father given his soul for the sake of heaven. And he said that the person that gives lo alenu, he saw for the sake of heaven, HaKadosh Baruch Hu merit his grandchildren, okay, that they will do the most holy thing in Yiddishkeit. That means if someone die for the sake of heaven, HaKadosh Baruch Hu look after his grandchildren. What does it mean, look after his grandchildren? Not only financially, that's not the point. That they're going to become great righteous people. Give them a special wisdom. He said, from here you learn, why is it mentioned? Who died for the sake of heaven? HaKadosh Baruch Hu pay who? How did he pay him? That his grandson made the Mishkan, make the vessel for the Mishkan. He said, that's the Hiddush. I would like now to skip to verse 36, chapter 36, verse 7. Yeah, verse 7. And with that, we're going to end because we have 1 minute. I'm obviously going to steal a few minutes, but with that, I'm gonna stop. Look what it said in verse 7. והמלאכה הייתה דיין לכל המלאכה לעשות אותה והותר.
But the work had been enough for all the work to do it, and there was extra.
Okay. If you listen to that verse, if you read that verse, you see immediately a contradiction here. The work was enough to all the work, but left over. What you tell me 1 minute, it was enough. Why did you tell me left over? That's the question of Rabbi Haim ben Attar. Rabbi Haim ben Attar, born in the city of Salim. He born around 324, 325 years ago, plus minus, in Morocco. He wrote the commentary that's called Or HaChaim HaKadosh. And in his commentary, he said, I don't understand. The verse tell me that it was enough. Start. And the end, the verse end up, it was over. So decide, enough or over the brought. If they brought enough, fair enough, I understand. But if they brought over, so why you tell me enough at the beginning? And if you tell me enough at the beginning, why you tell me over and end? What's the Hiddush here? The Or HaChaim HaKadosh like this. The Rabbi Haim ben Attar. In reality, listen to that. The children of Israel given more than enough donation. If it's gold, silver, copper, techelet, argaman, and etc. They brought too much, over. But the Kadosh Baruch Hu made the miracle that all what they brought was exactly to fit with the Mishkan and the vessel. He says, so what's the Hiddush here? He said the Torah tried to tell you here, not that the children of Israel brought too much. They brought over. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu make a miracle that it will look that it fitted exactly. Why? So people not going to feel embarrassed. Look, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't accept my donation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu felt for every Jew that he's not going to think for a second that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want his donation. What does it come to teach us? It's come to teach us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu shows his appreciation to every Jew that donates. How's that reflect on? And with that, I want to end. It's come to teach us derech eretz. Sometimes people do good for us. Sometimes people help us. A friend help us. You need something from someone. It's come to show you the appreciation. That we need to know how to show our gratitude. The same like HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed the gratitude to all Bnei Israel, to the children of Israel. We need to show our gratitude, number one, to the wife for all what she do for us. Quite often, we take the wife for granted. I'm speaking for me, I'm not speaking to you. You all tzaddikim. to teach us to show the wife gratitude, hakarat hatov. The same like HaKadosh Baruch Hu done with the children of Israel that brought too much. He didn't want to tell the people, take back, because I have too much. And that's like, Chas v'shalom, to embarrass them, like, the nation is not good enough. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, now that they all bring, tell them enough. Although that it was over, HaKadosh Baruch Hu put it all to the Mishkan. How much we should show gratitude to our friends, first of all, like I mentioned, to the wife, to the friend, people that we work with. We have to show gratitude. And that's the message here. Rabotai, gratitude means also unity. We're creating peace and unity between us and other people. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that we create peace, unity, love amongst the Jewish people. We help each other. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, said David HaMelech. The world can exist only on kindness. And if we do one with each other, with peace, with love, with unity, kindness to each other, Kadosh Baruch Hu Be'ezrat Hashem will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our day. Amen. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Rabotai, I know that I'm 4 minutes over. My apology. I'm trying to stick to 1 hour because I know that there is question and everything after that. I hope that you enjoyed the show. I hope that it's going to give you a different way this Shabbos to look at the Parsha, to understand the Parsha. Number 2, to understand why we read Parashat Shkalim Dafka before Rosh Chodesh Adar, that they used to collect before Rosh Chodesh Adar, a month before the money, a month before the month of Nisan, to collect money for the sacrifice of Beit HaMikdash, to buy sacrifice. Rabotai, thank you very much for joining us. Those of you that have questions, please unmute the microphone. Yes. Chavod. Who have a question? Anthony,
How are you?
Erev Tov. How are you, Antonio? Anthony, can you hear me? I can't hear you, Anthony. I can't hear you, Anthony. You're breaking out. You're breaking out. Anyone else? Erev Tov. Baruch Hashem. Yes, Anthony, I can hear you now. Ken.
Hear me?
Yes.
The people who believe are there many
Anthony,
of them, or they still believe that today just believe in the written Torah?
Anthony, I didn't hear your answer, but I'm guessing what you're saying. You're asking me if there's a lot of those Tzedukim and a lot of those Kutim, okay?
Yeah.
And yes, I don't know how many of them, but there's quite a bit. And most of them live in Shlem, in Nablus, and some of them live in Rishon LeZion in Eretz Israel. There is some of them, obviously, that still exist. Okay.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Pleasure. Any other question, Rabotai? Those of you that want to ask question, please unmute the microphone. Who else? Bechavod. No question.
Yes, Rob.
Jeffrey?
I'd like to
Bechavod,
ask,
Jeffrey. Yes, Bechavod. I'm waiting for you.
excuse me. Rob, at the time of the nations, that everyone gave a donation, and the heads of the tribes stayed back. Now, what was their machshava? What was their thought? I mean, it's horrible to say. It must have been a pure thought, really, because Hashem would never have given them the stones in the manna to be able to bring. So, you know, they held back to let everybody participate. It may be they did it so that everyone could feel part and not be embarrassed, that everyone can first do it. Because if they came along with a big donation at the beginning, which people wouldn't be able to participate. So this was perhaps
So what was the Hiddush? Why did they be punished that the letters U doesn't mention?
a good thing.
That's what you're asking.
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, the Torah tells us that a leader, a Jewish leader, always marching ahead. Why? Because when people are going to see you as a leader giving, they're going to learn how to give and how much to give and which way to give. You understand? When people see the Baalabatim giving, okay, the way that the Baalabait give, with happiness, with joy, that's going to reflect on the rest of the nation. Why? Because you are the mirror of your tribe. You're reflecting your tribe. By that the way that you give, that's how the rest of the people are going to give.
Well, taking that point, the rest of the people gave without them. They didn't need them. They were only too happy to give without them. So
but that's happened only once, Jeffrey. It's only happened once in a Jewish history that they given and they say Ganug is Ganug. We have too much. I don't need anymore. It was happened once in a Jewish history that they given more than enough. It's never happened again. Because the Jewish people were so excited that all the idea of the Mishkan is a parable for Egel Hazahav, for the golden calf. You understand?
Yes.
And the Jewish people felt like they betrayed the Almighty. The Jewish people didn't made, but they was part of the celebration with the Rifrei, with the multi-nation. The children of the Akadosh Baruch Hu call a groom, while the Almighty called the groom, while the children of Israel is the bride. And the children of Israel felt like they betrayed the groom. They just got married. Where? In Ma'amad Har Sinai. You follow?
Yes.
And that's what have the excitement to bring the donation to build the Bet HaMikdash, the proto Bet HaMikdash, the Mishkan. Why? To do atonement for their sin. And the Mishkan was midah keneged midah, measure for measure to the golden calf.
Rob, I have a... Yes, perfect.
Good.
Two other questions for you. One, here Moshe gathered the people and you made a point and clearly that it was on the day after following Yom Kippur, where people are united, they're together, what have you. But you gave the date 1 year and 4 months or so after Moshe received the commandments. So why wasn't it, how comes it was a year later? Were they 1 year and 4 months in that one?
You asked the question, why that they start the building of the Mishkan later? That's what you're asking.
Well, yes, and why
was it money to build the Mishkan? That's what you're asking.
Yes, why wasn't it on that first Yom Kippur?
Okay. Because Hazal explained why Dafka in Nisan. Okay, if you look, when did they start to inaugurate the Mishkan? In Nisan.
Yes.
Nachon?
Yes.
Chodesh Aviv. Whoa. What does it mean? Come to tell you something very interesting. HaKadosh Baruch Hu first took them out of Egypt. Remember, the people have the mentality of a slave. For 200 and 10 years they was in Egypt. For 86 years, they was in hard slavery. To take 87 years of hard slavery that you don't have a say, you can't say yeah or nay. You have no say in your life. Okay? A slave just want to get. He never give. He doesn't know how to give. A slave doesn't have respect. You need to bring them to a certain level to understand what you want from them. And for them to behave like this, you have to bring them to a certain level that they will understand themselves that they have to give. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. A mentality of a slave is just to take, to accept. A slave doesn't know what is not to accept, because all of his life he get. But to give, you have nothing to give. You have to build them to a certain situation, certain level, that they can penetrate into them to understand that you have to give tzedakah. You follow? And that will help you to understand why they marched for 40 years in a wilderness, in a deeper meaning, besides the sin of the spy. Chazal tell us because the spy was 40 days in Eretz Israel, for every day they're going to be in the wilderness for 1 year. But there's a deeper meaning also. That the children of Israel now, if they're going to enter the land of Eretz Israel after 87 years of slavery, of hard slavery, they wouldn't know how to run the country. They wouldn't know how to run themselves. They have to have a preparation to prepare them, number one, to take from them the slavery. So on those 40 years in the wilderness, HaKadosh Baruch Hu killed every person that was from the age of 20 to the age of 60. Why Dafka these 2 years, 20 to 60? Because those the age that you have opinion. After that, no one listened to you. But they're going to choose a guy that in the age of 15 to run the country. It happened with Shlomo. Shlomo was young. But beside that, he was a king in that time. You can't. You're going to choose a leader in the age of 70, 75. How long are you going to lead the Jewish people? And a person that had 75 over the age of 60 was already mature. That's the difference. You follow? Why Dafka a year, over a year?
Super.
To make them mature enough. But there's a deeper meaning. There's a deeper meaning. Why it's been inaugurated on Nisan? Because it's Yitzhak Avinu. It's Yitzhak Avinu born in that month. HaKadosh Hazal tell us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to the forefathers, what's going to happen if the children of Israel are going to sin? Avraham Avinu and Yaakov Avinu say, if they sin, punish them, kill them. Yitzhak Avinu say no, forgive them. Build the Mishkan, the Bet HaMikdash, so they can do atonement, so you can forgive them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, Yitzhak, you speaking so good about my kids? The Bet HaMikdash going to be built in your month. Going to be inaugurated, sorry. They said them. So now you got all the answer, but depths, all different.
Good. One other question.
Bechavod?
If we keep the Shabbos, will we be forgiven for idol worship? Is it us, or is it referring to the generation at that time? Because it is
to us.
Yes, to us now.
The Torah speak not only to them,
Yes.
it's also to us today. Avodah Zarah today. You know what is Avodah Zarah today?
Yeah.
You don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Hazal say that people, instead of studying Torah, watch a game, a soccer game, and rugby game, wasting their time.
Making idols of the people playing. Is that another?
That's it. You know, there's certain soccer player, and I see people wearing the shirt of soccer player. At the back, this name. You know, I understand. I understand because I was a kid like that, but it doesn't mean that it's right. Today, soccer doesn't interest me. Baruch Hashem, I managed to overcome it. But there's many Avodah Zarah. People get Avodah Zarah, but they worship their money.
Yeah.
These people that have Avodah Zarah, different Avodah Zarah, that for them, they sell their soul for the money. And you see what's happening in the world. You heard what Dr. Les tell us, that they sold to the devil.
Yeah.
That's also Avodah Zarah, the money. And there's on and on and on we can go. People, that's the way that they behave physically, that they want this car, they want this phone, they want this clothes, you know, and etc. That's Avodah Zarah. Why? Because you always look at the material thing. You understand? If he drive not this car, he will eat his heart. So he make the car like his. You understand? He worship this car. He have to have this car. You follow, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
So if they have the Yetzer Hara to worship to a calf that made from gold, we have a different Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara come all the time in different way.
Yeah. Rav, thank you. This just one more. It mentions very clearly, which you've mentioned, which is very, very interesting, that the grandchildren of Tzaddikim, of someone that's given up their life for Hashem, they will benefit, the grandchildren, from this. And you gave an example is Betzalel, and we take the example from that. But now he died, Hur, on the mountain. He died defending it, and it tells you many times that when there's an atonement for the golden calf.
For the Mildah.
Yeah. Now, many times in the Torah, it tells you that if you do this, it's going to be atonement. Tell me, and we're told we are forgiven because of what we've done throughout the Torah. Why are we still punished for that? Even today.
Punished for what? That we don't need, and we still don't remember, because the atonement will never complete it. The Zohamat HaNachash, when we received the Torah on Mount Sinai, the Zohamat HaNachash disappear. Hazohama, that the snake, the impurity that the snake put on Hava, disappear. In Ma'amad Har Torah, in Ma'amad Har Sinai, when we received.
Yeah.
But when the Rifre, the multination, the Arab Rab made the golden calf, the death came back to the world. Forgetful came to the world, and etc. We start forgetting our studying and everything. We explained that.
This multination.
Imagine that we would live forever. You know how much averot people will do?
Yeah.
You know, the children of Israel, when they was in the wilderness, how many averot they done in 40 years?
But that was the center. That was the center of all all evil energies was the desert.
Yeah, but
So
they
it
was,
must have
but
been-
you
they
have to
must have
understand, they was a nation that worship idols. They didn't know any better. How many averot they done in 40 years? Only 10. בעשרה ניסיונות ניסו אותי אבותיכם. In 40 years, 10 averot? We wake up in the morning, I don't want to say. You understand what the difference, Jeffrey?
Yes. Okay, Rav, just as a parting something, if you want to know what a riffraff is, it's a rowdy crowd of boisterous people. It's just it's a crowd that get together. I like your soccer crowds and everything. It's a whole bunch of people
Making big noise. Making big noise.
Boisterous. They're pushing themselves and yeah. That's the riff.
That's exactly what the riffraff was. That's exactly what they was. Make a lot of noise. You know, always the minority,
Correct.
make the big noise.
Correct.
נכון או לא? You agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that you enjoyed the show, Rabotai. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed the question. It was a beautiful question by everyone. I have to admit, some question I didn't even expect it. As usual, I never expect. Because Hazal say in Masechet Avot, mitalmidai, from a student, eskalti, that the most knowledge that I receive is from a student. So ask the Mefarshim, how can it be? Because whatever the rabbi prepared, the teacher prepared, he can never know what the student gonna ask. But shkoah. Rabotai, I would like to wish all of you, first of all, have a beautiful Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom to all of us. And the most important, that we have a peaceful Shabbos, a restful Shabbos, that we can rest and enjoy the Shabbos. And Motzei Shabbos is Rosh Chodesh Adar. Praise God, that we will see the miracle that Adar should give us. And we see Mashiach Tzidkenu. In the meantime, Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Thank you. Those of you that in vicinity of Yeshiva College, please join us an hour before Mincha for live shiur on Parashat HaShavua in depth in the Pardes, Be'ezrat Hashem. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Good night.